If you're looking for more house music in 2022, here are my top 10 artists to watch in 2022. If you don't know, you should know by now, house music is my number one love when it comes to dance music. I love house music so much I could write a whole novel about it. And so today's video, I wanted to share my top 10 artist recommendations. These are artists to watch in 2022. These are artists that, they're not on many lineups here in the US. They have a couple of really big hits on a lot of different labels. But they might not have that exact recognition here in the US. So I really wanted to call out some artists that I don't really see a lot on lineups or people's playlists or people talk about them, that kind of thing. And I'm also going to have a list of honorable mentions as well, just in case you guys are like, well, what about this person or that person? But I really wanted to highlight these 10 artists. Most of them are going to be in the tech house realm because that is my absolute favorite subgenre of house music. That is the one I definitely keep the most tabs on. I also created a Spotify playlist for you guys. Sorry, Apple Music lovers, but I created a Spotify playlist with all of these artists and the different songs that I love from these artists that I will also link down below. Without further ado, let's get into it. I also cannot forget to mention Gray Area. This is a platform that I currently work for. Their mission is to unify the international house community. I work on their team as the community liaison. I'm doing TikTok, I'm doing newsletter and email and everything like that. So it's been really awesome to be working on this team for the past 6 months, I want to say now. I've learned so much about house music and artists and the culture and just everything in that short amount of time. So I'm going to link them down below as well. We featured a lot of these artists on Gray Area. That's how I discovered them. So that is definitely a good place to go to just to learn more about artists, house music, news, culture, and everything like that. So let's kick it off. We got 10 artists to go through. So the first artist I have is Adapter. He's actually been in the game for over a decade, but I feel like in the past year, he's had some really solid releases and plays by some major artists. He is an Italian DJ and producer, and he does a really good job at blending these certain type of elements from like 80s synth to disco and then blending it with tech house, which we all know and love. He's had a lot of releases on Saved label, Catch and Release, which is Fisher's label, Black Book Records, which is Chris Lake's label, and Trick label, which is Patrick Topping's label. Two of my favorite songs by him are Patak, if I said that right, and then Back to You. Both of those are just really good. I love his stuff because it just feels very like I don't know how to describe it. Like it's just very like raises kind of like your vibration and excitement when you're listening to his stuff. So I'm very interested to see what he does in 2022 and hopefully can be on some tours and lineups and things like that. The next artist we have is Miane, if I'm pronouncing that right. She is a Spanish DJ and producer. I love her stuff. Like her music is like for the girls. Like it just, I don't know, it just hits. It has a very like Ibiza, tech house, tribal, but then also soulful essence to it. Really talks about in her interview with Gray Area about how she was raised on like soul, R&B. She really tries to tune into what house music was built on, which was Black culture. Black people created house music and techno. So she really tries to play into that in her music as well and really drive home that, this genre that we all know has a history to it, an essence to it and everything like that. So I love all her songs. Her vocals are great. The kick and the drums are just very like bouncy and fun. And she's had releases on Repopulate Mars, which is Lee Foss's label, Black Book Records. Chris Lake even remixed one of her songs, which like Chris Lake doesn't really do. He doesn't remix a whole lot these days. So to have Chris Lake remix your song is a pretty big deal, I would say. She's also had releases on Realm Records, which is Gorgon City's label, and Tool Room, which is another big house music label. Some of my favorite songs, I literally added 6 songs to this playlist. So House So House, My Girls, Make It Work, Not Today, and Who Are You? And then Chris Lake remixed Who Are You?
I like you. Who are you to say that you still want me when it was you who said goodbye?
The next artist we have is Chapter and Verse, and you guys, I have 13 songs saved of Chapter and Verse. As you can tell, I really like Chapter and Verse. I also put in one of his songs on my SoundCloud mix, my booty bumpin' bass house mix that I did for my birthday. That's on SoundCloud. I'll link it down below for you guys. I love Chapter and Verse. This is another really bassy version of tech house, I would say. He's also another tech house producer, but there's a difference with him and Miane and Adapter. Like he has more bassiness to it. I feel like it's very hard hitting that if you heard this at the rave in a warehouse, like you would just be like, like you would just really get into it. Anytime I listen to his stuff, I just imagine being in a dark warehouse and it just going off, you know what I mean? He's from the UK, had a lot of releases on like Thrive, Populate Mars. He was on the Tech My House Space Yacht release, which I thought was really cool. He's also had a release on Techni, which is Noizu's label. Definitely one to watch. I'm very interested to see if he gets on any lineups this year. I would love to see him, or if he stops through Austin, that would be really great. Fingers crossed. My favorite songs, like I said, I have 13, so I had to pick. Ashes was probably the first song I ever heard by him. It pops off. Bounce Back is another one. And then he just released another song this past week called Play by My Rules, which also is fire. Next up, we got Sam Blacky. I absolutely love her. I actually discovered her through her SoundCloud mixes, and then I started following her. She was dating a collie at one point, and then they had a breakup during 2020, I'm pretty sure. She did a podcast episode with LPGOB Femhouse Radio, and in that radio show, I learned that originally from San Diego, and she actually went out to Australia, and that is where she like learned how to produce and DJ and really fall in love with dance music. And then since then, she's just been a touring DJ in like Ibiza, Cabo, Bali, just kind of all over. And then in 2021, she's finally released songs on her own record label, Stabby Records. She's put out a lot of sets on YouTube. She always has mixes on SoundCloud. She has also kind of like a tribal tech house kind of vibe, but also layered with really emotional type lyrics that are like dance floor anthems that have like a really nice groove to it. I really am interested to see what she does in 2022. I would love to obviously see her live. She came here to Austin and I had no idea, like no one promoted it. And so I found out about it like the day of, and I wasn't even in town or something. And I was just like, dang it, like she has to come back. So that is another one that is definitely on my list to watch. My favorite song by her is Body. And No More. Bleu Clair is the next artist I want to talk about, and he's very interesting because he is literally when you combine bass house and tech house and they get married, have a baby, and everything like that. His sound is so distinct and unique to house music that we haven't really heard before, which I find very, very exciting. He also played at EDC. I didn't get a chance to see him. Definitely on my list to see. He's had a really incredible 2021, and I think he's really going to turn it up in 2022. No songs ever sound the same, but you can tell it's a Bleu Clair song, basically, is what I'm getting at. Finally, one of my favorite songs by him is Chemistry, so definitely check him out. Next up, we got my girl, Nala. Ooh, I love this girl. She is based in LA, but she's originally from Miami. She is currently signed to Dirty Bird Records, and in 2021, I feel like she had a really awesome year, and she went all over the place, I feel like, in the US, and I'm very excited to see her one day. I think she is more on like a psychedelic, hypnotic, experimental house kind of vibe that Dirty Bird is so good at. And she's kind of creating her own lane, and I really love her vocals. She sings on most of her tracks. She has a song out with Claude Von Stroke called Everything is Burning. That's one of my favorites. She has a lot of unreleased stuff that I've just been hearing in her stories from shows and stuff that she's played. So I'm very interested to see how 2022 turns out for her. However, she's awesome. I think she has a really good energy to her. I watched the interview that she did with Gray Area, and I follow her on Instagram and stuff. And so I'm really excited to see where 2022 takes her. Like I said, one of my favorite songs is the song with Claude Von Stroke, Everything is Burning. And then Psychic Attack is another good one. The next artist is someone I saw at the Camp EDC pre-party. This is Torren Foot. And I knew I was going to like Torren Foot because of the songs that I had heard from him before. But he really does do a really solid live set. That's what really impressed me. I feel like if you were a tech house producer coming into the scene, a lot of people think that they can just follow the formula. of, you know, stripping down a sample from back in the day and remaking it into a tech house version. And so I really like Torren Foot because I think he's introducing something different, and his set really spoke to it too. So definitely would keep my eye on him. I like his one song, More Life. That was the song that blew him up. And then he had 2 remixes last year, Honey and Name of Love, which was a Lee Foss song. Those were both really good remixes, and you could definitely start to hear his sound kind of within that as well. I didn't put these in a specific order, by the way, but I'm just going to say in the number 8 spot, we have SOHMI. This is an artist that I got to see live at Seismic Dance Event. I would love to see her again. Her sets are just very vibey. That is the best way to describe it. And her energy is just so great on stage. And she's definitely just one to watch. We also interviewed her for Gray Area. She's a Korean American DJ, producer, vocalist, instrumentalist. Like, she really can do it all, and she pulls from a lot of different inspirations for her music, and not one song sounds the same. The way that you can know it's a SOHMI song though is through her vocals as well. She really does have amazing vocals on some of her songs. My 2 favorite songs are Time and Do It.
See it, dream it, feel it, taste it, back it, flip it, do it, you gotta do it, back it, flip it, taste it, feel it, think it, see it, dream it, do it,
Those are both really good. She's had releases on Astralworks and Yodo's label, Odd One Out. Very excited to see what she does in 2022. I believe there's a collab or something with Hot Since 82 coming out, or on his label or something. They've been teasing that for a while, so I would love to get that this year, hopefully, because they've been like shouting each other out, talking about some songs. So I'm hoping it's a collab. If not, it might be out on Hot Since 82's label. So we'll see. We'll see. We're almost done here, you guys. So in the number 9 spot, we got Dubesque. I actually could not find a whole lot on this artist. So this is definitely someone that is on the smaller end of things. I think he only had 13,000 listeners on Spotify, which I thought was insane. The only thing I could find is that he's an Austrian DJ and producer. He's had releases on Black Book Records. I do actually know that he's going on tour with Will Clark. Will Clark starting his tour here soon, or already started it, and Dubesque is one of the support on that tour. My 2 favorite songs are Trippin' and Push It. And Trippin' is a song that takes you on a journey, and it just builds and builds and builds, and it's so good. Both of those songs are on Black Book Records. And then I dove into some of his other stuff, and he does have a very similar style to Will Clark. Not super similar, but I can tell why Will Clark really liked it, because they have a lot of similarities in their sound. It's tech house, but the tech house that is closer to techno. You know what I mean? Like, there's tech house where it's more housey, and then there's tech house where it's more techno. Will Clark and I had a conversation about this when I interviewed him, because yeah, there's definitely tech house where it's more on the techno side of things, and tech house where it's more on the housey side of things. That's honestly how this subgenre is kind of developing, I feel like. So Dubesque definitely has a lot of songs that are on more of the housey side of things, but does have some songs that are more on the techno kind of side of things, like Will Clark. Will Clark also kind of blends that line as well. And then last but not least, my final artist to recommend in 2022. You guys, there's so many I could have recommended, so I'm impressed I could even get it to a list of 10. And I'd love to hear who you guys are keeping an eye on, or who your favorite house artists are. Definitely leave me a comment down below. But the final artist I have is Gioli and Assia. These 2 Italian queens. We love them so much. I've had multiple chances to see them, and I still have not. They're going to be at Electric Forest though, and you bet your ass I'm going to be there. They are an incredible duo. They play live instruments. They sing live. They have a label. They songwrite. Literally just iconic queens is all I can really say. A little bit about their story. They actually were a manager-artist duo, so I'm not sure which one was the artist and which one was the manager, but then they ended up combining forces to create Gioli and Assia. In the last year, they've had a lot of really solid releases. They've also been doing like a live stream series on their YouTube channel in these beautiful scenic places. So I'll definitely recommend checking out their live sets so you can really get a feel for their set. This is another artist duo that kind of blends between things. Like they play techno, they play house, they have an indie vibe, they have a pop vibe. So you really just never know what you're going to get. Their kind of sets to me just feel more melodic and takes you on a journey, that kind of feeling, with some like tribal, naturey kind of hints to it too. I cannot wait to see them at Electric Forest and just see them in a live aspect, and they have their whole live setup as well. Two of my favorite songs, they did Fever, which was a remake of that really old classic song Fever. And then the other song that I really love by them is BB or Baby. It's spelled BEBE, so I'm sure it's BB or Baby. I don't know. But I put all of those songs that I really like by them in the Spotify playlist. So that is linked down below for you guys. And then I have some honorable mentions just because, you know, I couldn't include everyone or else this would be an hour-long video. And I really tried to do artists that I don't see on a lot of lineups that have really solid releases. That was kind of the big thing I wanted to get to because we are seeing a lot of the same names on these lineups. So I really wanted to bring attention to some other names that, you know, we don't see a whole lot. So like I said, some honorable mentions: Clooney, LPGOB, Vanessa, Tita Lau, Joshua, Kyle Walker, Disfrek, West End. Last year, my 2021 EDM artists to watch, I did recommend Jay Wara, Black V-Neck, Gem and Tori. Those were kind of the ones I recommended last year in 2021. All of these artists are really great ones to watch in 2022, but let me know who your current favorites are right now. Let me know if you check out any of these artists that I recommended. Like I said, Spotify playlist link down below, as well as some other fun links for you guys. I definitely will be doing an EDM artist to watch in 2022 video, so that will be coming soon. If you did enjoy today's video, do give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button to vibe with me. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.